One of the few things that probably everyone wants to know regarding COVID-19 is that what will be its impact on growth. Uh, Now, I have some preliminary estimates that I don't want to get into at the moment because as they are preliminary in nature, and I would ideally like to dig in some more before commenting on what is going to happen. But here's what we know, and these are things that are very intuitive. But nevertheless, let me repeat it. So the facts that we know are that a social distancing is working across all countries. It's generally the most efficient manner to contain the spread of the disease. Uh, B, lockdowns are very stringent, but they are required in some sense because they have been effective in flattening the curve. See, that when there is a lockdown, effectively there is no economic activity taking place except for the permitted services or supply of food, etc., etc. So barely the essential, so to say, things or the essential sectors are operating, whereas the rest of them are not. So for the next 2 months, these are the for the next 2 weeks, these are the things that are essential for us to keep in mind. Even though the lockdown is supposed to end on the 15th, and then gradually we will be moving back to business as normal. But the key question is that what is the impact that this event is going to have on a longer period of time, and that is something that has occupied all of us for the last couple of weeks as we try to get an idea of what exactly is going to happen. uh, my sense is that the impact is not going to be that severe over time, but the impact is going to be front loaded, which means that we may see a sizable dip in the first quarter estimates, and growth will start slightly recovering thereafter. Uh, but effectively we need to start looking at it in the point of view from the point of view that whatever has happened in the first quarter we need to completely ignore it, in the sense that there's nothing that we can do about it. It's just it's in the past now as far as I'm concerned, because you can't do much uh, beyond a point about it. uh, so what happens to the process of recovery? And I think this situation is different from 2008 in many ways, and we're still trying to understand just what are the different contours of the present crisis. But if you look at 2008, you recognize that within 13 months the worst was over. By 2010, Indian economy was very resilient, started growing at around 7-8%. Uh, so I do anticipate that probably next year, if there is adequate policy intervention, what we will be looking at is that growth is going to be back, and that Indian economy's momentum is going to probably come back. But this will be obviously contingent on certain measures that government will have to take, some of which fiscal, some of which monetary. Uh, and some of which government has already taken, such as regulatory forbearance, and RBI has announced some measures, and finance ministry has also announced some measures. Finance minister herself has announced an extensive cash transfer program for the poor and vulnerable. uh, so there are certain measures that will cushion the most vulnerable from its impact, and RBI will cushion a major chunk of the corporate sector uh, from the impact, and informal sector is also going to gradually recover. So I don't see any reason why recovery will not happen. As a matter of fact, this crisis hit at us at the most unfortunate time, because we were witnessing recovery from Q3 onwards and from Q4 onwards. It just so happened that when our Q4 started, or towards the middle of February, coronavirus spread all over the world. So our recovery got slightly delayed, and the bottom got slightly extended. Uh, but in this particular case, it's not a slight extension. Growth, I mean, the fall in growth is going to be sharp, but so will be the recovery. So we'll have a V-shaped recovery going forward, and not the prolonged U shape that would have otherwise happened in the absence of COVID-19.